So, it's Christmas time. I don't know if you've noticed. It's kind of the thing right now. And I was thinking about the birth of Christ and the nativity and the sheep and shepherds and wise men and all that. And I thought about a word I learned in French class in high school. It's a very basic word that I probably learned in the first few weeks of class. And that word is manger. Now, manger is the French word meaning to eat. And the spelling is very familiar. It's M-A-N-G-E-R. M-A-N-G-E-R. Interesting. Very interesting. So, as we've read in Luke's gospel, when Christ was born, he was laid in a manger. He was laid in a structure designed to hold feed for animals. He was placed in a feeding trough. And isn't it interesting that even from his birth, his body seemed like it was created and destined to be consumed? Now, I know that sounds odd and a bit morbid, but track with me here for a minute. Even from the beginning, like it says in Revelation 13, in which the Apostle John calls Yeshua the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. And what did Yeshua say? I am the bread which came down from heaven. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood abides in me, and I in him. And I've said this before, and you'll hear me say it again, but you cannot give what you do not have. What you have, you can give in measures. Who you are, you can give in perpetuity. When he multiplied bread and fish, there was an amount of bread. More than enough, but still a set amount. When he had bread, he could distribute it in measures. But he didn't just say, I have bread. He said, I am bread. And what's the limit on the bread of life? What's the statute of limitations on the bread that came down from heaven? He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. And last time I checked, never means never. So he gives us himself, his infinite, divine, perfect self, and says, eat me, drink me. And he even gave his literal flesh, his blood, his musculature, his meat. And politics beat it, bruised it, tenderized it. Religion lacerated it, tore it from his bones. Tradition, ambition, the lust for power, the love of money, consumed it, attempted to erase it from the earth. Perfect love showed up, and we as humans didn't have the grid to accept it. And you've heard it said, the kingdom suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. And not only the kingdom, but the king himself suffered violence. But we don't take him by force. He's a gift, an offering. So on this first Christmas, he was placed in a feeding trough for beasts. And humans, like beasts, didn't recognize him and destroyed him. By his stripes we are healed. But who put the stripes there? Isn't that ironic? And I don't want to be the one who strips his flesh from his bones in order to silence him. I want to be the one who consumes him in order that he may be amplified. I want to, as the French would say, manger. And if the only thing I took away from my high school French class was the ability to make this connection in 2024, then I think it was worth it. So as you're giving and receiving gifts this Christmas, I hope you remember that God the Father gave the most precious thing he had to remind us that we also are precious. And when you see a manger in a nativity scene, and as you're sitting down to your holiday meals with your loved ones, I want you to think of our friend, manger, the manger, the feeding trough. I want you to think of the bread of life and the living water, the feast that our King has set before us. His body, his blood, his teachings, his message, his love, and yes, even his nature. I'm Ryan Coleman, the real Ryan Coleman on Instagram, not Ryan Coleman on X. Again, I wish you a Merry Christmas. I hope it is filled with peace and joy. I hope you find time to reflect and give thanks. Enjoy it, especially if you have small children. Soak it up. They'll never be this young. They'll never be this young ever again. When they're 4, you want them to be 2. When they're 8, you wish they could be 4 again. So slow down and enjoy it. These are the days you may long for in the future, so treat them respectfully. I ask that you remember my new ebook, Problems to Proverbs, Ancient Wisdom for the Modern World, Volume 2, still available at a $10 discount through the end of the year. Link is in the show notes. But as always, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.